Special thanks to Kyvor, Mary McDowell, LW, Captain Luppy, Vox, Roach Zoch, Jorgen, The Reaver, Mahdi Nabi, Gym Leader Goldie, Bryce Bassett, David Mason, Honor Higgins, Trash Gang, Seti, Big Wolf, Matt H. and Stuff, Undefined, Max Cross, Paul Tholomew, Alejo Kareen, and Christian Ray.
Court will now reconvene. I assume both sides are ready?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
I can understand the defense acting like this. However, why do you also seem distraught, Mr. Edgeworth?
It's nothing, Your Honor.
What's wrong with Edgeworth?
Looks like something unexpected just happened to him.
Now then, Mr. Edgeworth, if you could please tell the court the results of the handwriting analysis on Miss Inpax's suicide note.
Yes, Your Honor. Unfortunately, we have discovered that this suicide note is a forgery.
What?
What do you mean, Mr. Edgeworth?
This note was not written by Miss Inpax herself. It is a fake.
Order! Mr. Edgeworth, would you care to explain what is going on? If this was not written by Miss Inpax, then who wrote it?
We would need more time to do a more detailed analysis. However, it appears that the handwriting matches that of the victim, Mr. Juan Corrida.
Mr. Corrida?
Well, it looks like Miss Inpax never left a suicide note after all. She never wrote anything about On Guard.
However, Your Honor, even though this suicide note is indeed a fake, Mr. Ungard could not have known that, and so the facts remain unchanged. Acting under the assumption that it was real, he had plotted to possess it.
That does sound very plausible.
This theory that On Guard had no idea that suicide note was fake. Something seems a little wrong with it.
The defense believes that the theory the prosecution has stated contradicts testimony. If everything the prosecution has proven up to this point is true, then it's impossible for Mr. On Guard to have not known it was a fake. Because of this.
What is this little item called again?
A video camera, Your Honor. A very small one, but...
Oh, that's right, a camera! You kids and your fancy toys nowadays.
Mr. Edgeworth, earlier you claimed that Mr. On Guard knew of the existence of this note because he was spying on the victim. Isn't that right? If that were true, then this means Mr. On Guard would have known that the victim had forged the note.
So then, the defendant knew this suicide note was fake, and if that's true, then the situation has suddenly changed in a very dramatic way.
Exactly, Your Honor. The prosecution's theory as to what Mr. On Guard's motive for the murder was, it has suddenly disappeared into thin air.
But, Your Honor, it's not as if Mr. Ungard monitored Mr. Corrida 24 hours a day. Perhaps the victim wrote the note in a place Mr. Ungard didn't know of.
Well, right back at you, Mr. Edgeworth. Why don't you show us some proof that the victim made the forgery at an unknown place?
Order! Mr. Edgeworth, it looks like this time it is you who has dug his own grave.
As I figured.
As you figured?
As I figured, it came down to this after all.
Mr. Edgeworth, you are not making any sense.
When I heard the results of the handwriting analysis, I thought this might happen. The question is, what next? If the prosecution can't prove Mr. Ungard's motive through the evidence, then we must prove it from another angle.
Well, I agree with you there.
Your Honor, the prosecution would like to call a witness to the stand at this time.
Oh, well, that's fine.
However, This witness is a little unusual.
Edgeworth stuttering? This is not like him at all.
Unusual? Well, what sort of witness is this person, Mr. Edgeworth?
This witness is one who is perfectly fit to answer once and for all the question of who was it that hired Shelley DeKiller to commit murder?
That's impossible! Who in the... No such person exists who can answer that question with such certainty!
Yes, Mr. Edgeworth. Who is this witness?
It's,
Yes, go on. Who is it?
the man himself, Mr. Shelley DeKiller.
Oh, Mr. DeKiller. What? Shelley DeKiller? You mean the killer? I mean the assassin?
Yes, Your Honor.
He's coming here? To the witness stand?
Well, yes, in a manner of speaking. I recognize that this is a very unusual circumstance, so I ask for your permission.
Well, Mr. Wright?
Yes?
Is this all right with you?
Do I have a choice here? I can't really do much else to drag this trial out.
The defense has no objections, Your Honor.
I wonder if it really is all right to do this.
Very well, then. The prosecution calls our witness to the stand.
Edgeworth? Is there no other way left to us?
Now then, witness, your name and your, occupation, please.
Very good, sir. My name is Shelley DeKiller, and I am a professional assassin.
I say, what is going on here?
Your Honor?
How can you remain so calm? And what is the meaning of this two-way radio?
Actually, Your Honor, it was delivered to me just now, and it came with a condition. As long as we do not trace its source, Mr. DeKiller will testify to this court.
So, this must be what that urgent phone call he got earlier was about.
Oh no, this will not do. I cannot allow this in my court. First of all, we cannot even be sure this is really Mr. DeKiller himself.
Witness, please present some sort of proof that you are in fact Shelley DeKiller.
I understand. Please wait a second.
I'm so hungry.
Maya!
Maya!
A voice! Mr. Wright, can you confirm anything from this?
The defense has no objections to this person. We are satisfied that this man is indeed Shelley DeKiller.
It looks like we have run into yet another unexpected turn of events. Well, it doesn't seem like we have too many choices under these circumstances, so...
Now then, witness, there is one thing I would like to confirm before we speak of anything else.
And what would that be?
At the request of a client, you killed Mr. Juan Corrida. Is this correct?
It is as you say. I did indeed kill Mr. Corrida.
Now that we have answered that, let's move on to the name of your client.
Very well.
This is all just a bad dream. Yes, that's it. A bad dream.
There is something I must first state. To an assassin, nothing is more important than the trust between a client and himself. And that is the reason I am here today on this witness stand. It is my wish you grasp this concept before I give the name of my client.
Mr. DeKiller seems to be a very clever man. I'd almost say he seems to be mocking us.
While he may appear to be our enemy, Your Honor, Mr. DeKiller is only stating the truth. He is no hypocrite. He has always stood by this one belief.
You mean about this trust between his client and himself thing? It seems to be a level of trust beyond what people like me can comprehend. Well, Mr. Wright, Are you ready to cross-examine the witness?
Yes, Your Honor.
There's no way to know what's coming next. So stay cool and collected, Phoenix.
We can hear anything else you have to say later. Can you please just tell us your
I
crimes?
don't think you understand your place, Mr. Attorney. I said this is something I must first state. Do you know what the word first means?
Well, it appears this is one witness you can't batter, Mr. Wright.
That's only because you don't know about Maya's situation.
I provide my services in a fast and efficient manner. In exchange, I trust that my clients are discreet about me and my identity. If too many people knew my face, it would be quite troublesome.
And that is why you are testifying in this manner.
This is the first time one of my clients has ever been accused of murder. I must preserve the killer name so my clients can trust me.
But couldn't someone stab you in the back and break your trust?
It has never happened before, but if it ever did,
Yes?
that person wouldn't be my client for very long. They would certainly...
That's enough. Please, no more.
Very well, it was only a hypothetical anyway.
This seems a little strange to me. I mean, you're about to tell us the name of your client. I would think that this would be very bad for them.
It doesn't matter to me. The client has already broken the rules and acted outside of their prescribed role.
Their role?
This person tried to implicate another of a crime in order to save themselves. And this is a trespass that cannot be forgiven.
You? Who gave you the right to be so high and mighty?
To the gentleman who just spoke now. Excuse me, but would you care to die?
No, I didn't say anything.
Judge had better watch himself.
I'm sorry, but I was just wondering about something you just said. You said that your client had already broken the rules.
A person who frames another is the worst kind of human being.
And that's why you feel you can betray this person.
I have no trust relation with a client who can't understand their assigned role.
Just my luck. An assassin with a conscience. Who would have figured?
Now then, everyone, do you think you can understand my logic? If you can't, then I'm afraid we can't proceed.
Everyone understands your point, I think. Really.
In that case, I believe I am prepared to disclose the information you seek.
You have made it crystal clear that you value trust over all else. I believe we are ready.
Excellent. Now then, I do believe it's time I revealed the name of my client. Don't you agree?
What is it?
Now I can't bring myself to ask the client's name.
If you can't ask the question, Mr. Wright, then I will. Witness! What is the name of your client who requested the murder of Mr. Juan Corrida?
The person's name is... Adrian Andrews.
Objection! Witness! That is not who you told me it was earlier!
Pray tell, what are you talking about, Mr. Prosecutor? I think I should know my own client, and it is Adrian Andrews.
What? This can't be! On the phone earlier!
What's going on here?
My guess is that Mr. DeKiller just stabbed Mr. Edgeworth in the back.
Edgeworth in the back?
I'm sure in order to get an audience with the court, Mr. DeKiller told him a different name. Matt on guard, perhaps?
I knew it!
Objection! This is outrageous! I was deceived! This witness is telling a very serious lie!
But you were the one who summoned this witness.
You, Shelley DeKiller!
My testimony is the truth. The defendant at the moment is Matt on guard, am I correct? All I wish to do is help procure his acquittal.
Wow. All of a sudden, it feels like we can actually win this.
Yeah.
The prosecution has failed to provide a motive and has instead provided this suicide note, which is a forgery created by the victim. Furthermore, there's a possibility the defendant himself knew it was a fake. But most definitive of all, we have heard from the assassin himself the name of his client. Mr. DeKiller's client, who requested the murder, was not the defendant at all.
No!
With all this evidence, it is obvious to me that Mr. Mattengard is innocent.
I seem to have caused you all a bit of confusion. Please, continue your discussion and call me when you have reached a verdict.
Bailiff, please bring Miss Adrian Andrews in. Immediately.
What now? With the way this is going, Ungard will be found innocent. This may be our last chance to save Maya.
Yeah, but Edgeworth is right. DeKiller is lying. And Ungard, my client, I know he's guilty. Can I live with myself if I win this?
Who would have believed that the prosecution's own witness would absolve the defendant?
Your Honor, the prosecution requests permission to further question the witness. Shelley DeKiller is certainly lying under oath.
It wasn't me! Listen, everyone, please! That testimony just now, it was all one big lie!
Miss Andrews.
The suicide note may have been a fake, but that man, Matt, he is the reason Celeste died. And Juan's death, it was all because he got pulled into Matt's twisted world. That testimony just now, you have to believe me. It was a horrible, horrible lie.
But Mr. DeKiller himself has testified. He has named you as his client.
No, that's not true.
Also, there is quite a bit of evidence that points to you. The knife and the button donning the Nickel Samurai's costume.
But that's...
You even have a motive. We know that Miss Celeste Inpax was a large part of your life. You wanted to follow her, and you wanted revenge against the two who hurt her. I would say you have plenty of reasons to want them both dead.
No. Mr. Wright! You know the truth. Tell them! Tell them the real story! Who the real killer is. Tell them, please. Help me.
Yes, I know the truth.
Mr. Wright?
Yes, Your Honor.
I believe we have reached the end of this trial. Therefore, I ask the defense for any final words or opinions.
I have to decide. Do I take the not guilty verdict and save Maya, or do I throw this chance away and wait for Gumshoe's new evidence? What am I supposed to do?
Phoenix.
I can't do it, Mia. I can't accept a not guilty.
You're a lawyer.
I know, but Matt on Guard is a killer, a murderer. I can't let him get away with this, and I can't let someone else take the fall. If I let Miss Andrews be convicted, then I'm no better than on guard. And even though I don't want to admit it, I have to face the fact that it is because of Edgeworth that I now know the real truth. He could have gotten on guard convicted so many times over. But he never took a single one of those chances. If I take this verdict right now, I'd be betraying his trust.
His trust? I never thought about it until now. I trust him?
Yes, you do.
Mr. Wright, your opinion, please.
The defense requests that we be allowed to further question Mr. DeKiller.
Am I hearing you correctly, Mr. Wright?
Right.
But the witness has cleared your client through his testimony. Your job here is done.
I'm not done yet. To see through this witness's lies and find the truth. That is my job, Your Honor!
There's still more evidence to look at. And I'm sure that once those pieces arrive in this very courtroom, a miracle will occur.
Very well. The trial will continue. Mr. Edgeworth, please re-establish your connection with Mr. the Killer.
Right away, Your Honor.
Has a verdict been reached?
Before that, we would like to talk with you a little more.
About? All you needed from me was the name of my client. What else could you need me for?
Well, actually, we would like to hear everything you know about this case. This is how things are usually done.
What is he talking about? Usually done?
But what shall we have him testify about now?
Mr. DeKiller, if you don't mind, please testify about your client in more detail.
You legal people and your procedures. Is it any wonder no one likes to go to court? As I have already stated quite a few times, Adrian Andrews is my client. However, one thing I simply cannot overlook is tampering with the scene of the crime. My client did it to frame another for the crime, while pretending to be the first person to discover the body and enter the scene. Adrian Andrews already knew from the very beginning that Juan Corrida was dead. But even more appalling is the creation and planting of the knife and button. That act is what I was referring to when I said my client had broken the rules.
This is a most unexpected turn of events for the fifth time now. However, this time, everything has finally been revealed.
Objection! Just a second, Your Honor.
Yes, Mr. Edgeworth?
We still have the cross-examination to do.
But you don't need to question testimony like this, do you, Mr. Wright?
Your Honor, the defense will question the witness.
Huh? Why? What this witness has said is nothing but beneficial to the defense's case. If you scrutinize the testimony,
Then I'll expose the lies in that oh-so-beneficial testimony, I suppose.
I don't understand what's going on anymore.
That makes two of us. If I press him the wrong way, it might raise suspicion on his end. But I have to do something to waste more time.
Witness? About requesting a hit?
Yes?
How much is your fee?
I see you're also quite a dark-hearted man, Mr. Attorney.
Huh?
If you would like to talk business, we can do so after the trial.
No! I'm not thinking of hiring.
Mr. Wright!
Yes?
You want to kill me? You want me dead, don't you?
What? Why would you think something like that, Your Honor?
Guilty, Mr. Phoenix Wright! You are hereby declared guilty!
Witness, let's continue. Why did you disclose the name of your client? They are your client, are they not?
I would think that most people wouldn't be able to overlook a person hiring another to kill.
If I had a problem with such a thing, I wouldn't be very effective at my job. However, I will say this. Even though I am the one that does the deed, my clients are always the real guilty party.
That goes without saying, Mr. DeKiller.
And their fate is to live with the knowledge of their guilt on their shoulders. However, my client this time thought they could run away from their guilt.
So, you're aware of the frame? You knew about the button and the knife?
Yes, and my business card, so that no one has to waste their time, including the police. I always make it a point to make things as easy as possible.
You try to make things easy?
My business card makes it very easy to identify who carried out the service.
He's pretty devoted to his work.
But to disregard everything, to go and stab the deceased with a knife, and even hide my card from sight, that is something I cannot overlook.
It's really hard to tell if he's being truthful or not without him being here.
So, why do you think your client did that?
What do you mean by why?
Well, fiddling around at the scene of the crime is pretty risky. And why would someone who has requested a murder go to the crime scene anyway?
That is true.
I assume it was probably done to frame Mr. On Guard.
If that's the case, then why didn't the person just request that you do it?
Sadly, that is not possible.
Why is that?
My job is to kill, that is all. And to leave my business card behind, naturally. The business card is so my clients may escape blame. To protect them is my duty. Even if they say it's for revenge, setting someone else up to take your fall is unacceptable.
So you're saying most clients wouldn't do such a thing?
That is correct. Usually most people try to create an alibi for themselves. If you should use my services, Mr. Attorney, I would suggest you plan for your alibi too.
No! I already told you! I have no intention of ever using your services! Why does he keep looking at me like I'm the one on trial here? And that's all you have to testify?
Yes, and I pray that I will never be called to the stand again.
Again? As in, you plan to continue?
I must, as I have yet to find a person to take my place and become the fourth successor. Actually, how would you like a new life, Mr. Attorney?
Excuse me? No. I'm fine, really.
Are you? Really now?
I wonder what kind of man the judge thinks I am now.
Curious. You say that your client knew from the moment the body was discovered that Juan Corrida was dead.
That is correct. From before my client visited the room. All of my clients know precisely what the situation is at all times.
That's odd.
Yeah, if she knew Mr. Corrida was dead, then...
Objection! Thank you so much for taking the time to testify, Mr. Daykiller.
What is the meaning of that attitude?
When Adrian Andrews entered the victim's room, your client had no idea that Juan Corrida had been murdered.
But how? How do you know that?
From this wine glass, Your Honor. Mr. Daykiller's supposed client thought Mr. Corrida had only fainted, which is why this glass of tomato juice was poured for the victim.
But isn't that just part of Adrian Andrews' calculated plan?
That is not possible, Your Honor. This glass bears the fingerprints of that person. Had this been planted, they never would have left their fingerprints behind.
I see your point. Mr. Edgeworth, what is your opinion?
Strangely enough, I had the same exact thought just now. Witness, how do you explain this strange phenomenon?
Isn't it a waste of time to ask about such a minor detail? It's not a very important point anyway, correct?
I'm afraid you are mistaken. If Adrian Andrews really is your client as you claim, then your client should have had knowledge of Mr. Corrida's death. If not, then that can only mean that Adrian Andrews was never your client at all.
How strange.
Yes?
Why is it that the attorney has yet to raise an objection to this absurd situation?
Phoenix, if Daykiller finds out what we're up to, we're in real trouble.
Objection! Mr. Edgeworth, I'm surprised. You know you can't say things like that without any evidence.
Sorry.
That sounded like an awfully weak objection to me.
Anyway, I am positive that there was a contradiction in that testimony. The prosecution requests further testimony concerning when the request was taken.
Very well.
Right now, I have to buy us some more time while we wait for the items Daykiller left behind to get here. I just know that the very outcome of this trial lies with those items.
This request came to me, about a week ago. It was a request for my services of the night of the award ceremony. We met at a certain bar to discuss and finalize a few matters. That is what occurred. I trust my memory, and I believe I have made no mistakes.
So you physically met your client, huh?
That is correct. Meeting one's client is the first step to building trust, in my opinion.
I see. Well, Mr. Wright, your cross-examination, please.
One week ago? Are you sure?
Yes, I'm quite sure. I, of course, had my own preparations. I was barely able to finish. When you request my services, Mr. Attorney, I hope you will keep that in mind.
Please, stop.
In any case, my client had a very specific date and time in mind.
Did you ask why on that specific night?
No, I tried to fulfill all the conditions of my client's requests. But as for why, I only had my suspicions.
What are these suspicions you had? Why did your client request that night?
I'm sure it was all for the bear.
The bear?
My client spoke of it. I'm sure there will be a bear-shaped figurine in Juan Corrida's room. I would like you to retrieve that item for me.
Inside that figurine was a suicide note. Naturally, the victim brought it with him to his hotel room. He was planning to publicly disclose its contents at the press conference, after all.
That is correct. And if I had not done the job that night, I would not have known where the bear figurine was.
So you physically met Adrian Andrews, right?
Well, of course I did.
What was that? What was with the brief pause?
Witness, I would like for you to give us a few more details.
I always meet my clients as a matter of principle. I have never taken a request by telephone or mail.
And why is that?
That's because I value the trust between a client and myself above all else. The only way to establish that is to speak to the client while looking them in the eye.
Your Honor, if Mr. D. Killer had met his client before the murder, then it's unlikely he is mistaken.
So you're saying that his client really was Adrian Andrews?
I guess so.
You see, it's just as I said.
Dang it!
I'm so lost. Who the heck am I supposed to be helping here?
Calm down, Phoenix. Think carefully and relax.
Why he meets his client is not important, and that wasn't the point. Witness, please stop sidestepping my question.
What? What do you mean by that?
My question was, did you really meet Adrian Andrews in person?
I have already told you, Mr. Wright, I did. It was only through talking with him face to face that I began to trust him. That's when I thought, I can trust this person as a client.
Objection! I would like to go over this one more time. You met Adrian Andrews at a bar and took the request at that time.
Yes, that is correct.
And that's when you thought he was trustworthy.
How many times must I repeat myself? Yes, that is correct.
I'm sorry, but that is an impossible tale.
What?
Shelley Day Killer? You have never met the real Adrian Andrews.
Well, why would you say that?
Because you made one very big slip-up about her.
So what's the issue? What did you just say now? About her?
If you had ever met Adrian Andrews in person, one look would have told you that she is a woman.
Oh!
Order in the court! Mr. Wright, what is the meaning of this?
This witness testified to the following, that he always meets face-to-face with his clients when taking their request.
But he has never met Adrian Andrews in person?
Yes, Your Honor, that is exactly the point. That means Mr. De Killer's client could not have been Miss Adrian Andrews.
Mr. Edgeworth, I understand your logic on this one. However, why would the assassin make such a basic mistake?
I believe it has something to do with her name, Your Honor.
Her name?
Yes. Adrian Andrews is without a doubt a very androgynous name.
Yes, I see.
Unluckily for Mr. DeKiller, the entire time he was on the stand, no one had stated Adrian Andrews' gender, and so he simply picked the wrong gender to go with.
What? What is going on? Shirley DeKiller, this court demands an explanation.
Oh, I think somehow I must have mixed up this client with another.
So does that mean you remember something different now?
Yes, of course. Please, if you would allow me to testify once more.
I know he's just going to spit out more lies.
Very well, but this time, please give us the truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, now I remember. I took that request by mail. There have been times when I took a job without having met a client. The request was for the murder of one Corrida and 2 or 3 other small things. When I saw the name at the end of the letter, I thought my client to be a man.
So you took this job through a letter?
He didn't mention anything about a letter in his earlier testimony, which means he is definitely lying.
Be careful, Phoenix. If you break the assassin's testimony completely, it's over for us.
I know, I can't make him suspicious, but I think we're okay. Like, we can do this.
As long as he's standing there across from me, no matter how strong of a punch I throw, he'll counter it.
Now then, let's begin the cross-examination.
Didn't you just say that you always meet your clients?
Yes, I suppose I did say that. However, there are some clients for whom a meeting is simply not possible.
And why could you not meet certain clients?
Recently, I've been receiving more requests. If I met each and every client, I would lose some nice business opportunities.
Nice business opportunities?
On top of which, the times have changed. It's now the age of information and computers, correct? Well, I have joined the times and now take requests via electronic mail.
Electronic mail? Do you have to mail that in a special insulated envelope?
I'm very sorry. I despise the shortening of words. What I meant by electronic mail is what is commonly referred to as email.
E-mail?
In a contest of mimicry, the judge would beat a parrot, hands down.
But didn't you meet your client this time?
No, I did not.
Oh, come on now. Let's stop with this game of cat and mouse.
Using your silkiest voice is not going to work on me.
All right then. Just cough it up and confess.
Mr. Wright, you can't badger a witness with such harsh words. You're a lawyer, so behave like one and present evidence instead of mindlessly yelling. Now then, do you have any proof that Mr. DeKiller met with his client?
I'm sorry, Your Honor. Unfortunately, I don't have any proof.
I see. Then your line of questioning was just another waste of time.
Sadly for us, Your Honor, that is the nature of right and wrong.
What were those 2 or 3 other things?
A few other things that have nothing to do with the case.
Whether or not they're related to this case is for the court to decide.
Mr. Attorney.
Yes?
Everything I have said from the beginning has been nothing but beneficial to your client. Which is why I wonder what is pushing you to continue this cross-examination. Could it be that you are planning to betray your own client?
That's...
I smell the stench of a backstabber. And should you turn out to be one...
Wait, witness! This is a very important matter. Please cooperate and tell us what these other jobs your client requested were.
If it's truly that important, I suppose I don't have much choice. The bear figurine.
The bear figurine?
After the assassination of the target, I was to find that figurine. I was told that this job was just as important as the actual killing.
And where was that figurine?
Inside Mr. Corita's suitcase.
And then, what did you do next?
I handed it over to my client right away.
I found this figurine at Mr. Unguard's mansion. If you gave this to Miss Andrews, then what was it doing there?
I was waiting for her there. That was also part of the plan to frame Mr. Unguard, I'm sure.
So the killer says he gave the figurine to Miss Andrews, but I know there's a contradiction in that statement. And yet, I know that if I present something trivial here...
He will cut the connection on his end. If you want to make a strong point, Phoenix, you have to present strong evidence.
Witness, let's go over this one more time. You gave Miss Andrews the bear figurine, and she told you to take the bear and wait for her at Unguard's mansion. Is that correct?
Yes. Where are you going with this?
Well, I think maybe you might have remembered a few things incorrectly.
What?
I don't think it is possible for Miss Andrews to have been the recipient of this bear. Take that! Shelley Day Killer, if you had really given this bear to Miss Andrews, then this item should not have been inside it.
This item?
I see where you're going.
Yep, that's where I'm going.
Where is everyone going? Do I need to pack a suitcase?
Your Honor, please think back to Miss Andrews' testimony.
I was going to burn it. For her sake.
If even for a single minute, this bear had actually been in Miss Andrews' hands, I'm sure she would have taken the suicide note out and burned it!
Order! 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 So, that's where you two are going.
So by the very fact that this suicide note was still inside the bear, tells us that your client didn't know how to disassemble the puzzle.
Which means...
It means, Your Honor, that it is impossible for Adrian Andrews to be the client.
Oh!
Order! Order! Order!
Mr. Phoenix Wright. I'm sure I mentioned this before. How I hate traitors above all else. I think your cross-examination has clearly demonstrated something to me. You must wish to break your end of our agreement.
No, that's not...
That's enough. If that's your intention, then there is only one thing for me to do.
But wait, please!
Ladies and gentlemen, please excuse me. I have a matter I must attend to.
Hold it! No, please, not that! Please, wait!
Mr. Attorney, bring this trial to a speedy end, and I may stay my hand. Otherwise...
What in the... Mr. Wright, are you... Mr. Edgeworth?
Yes, Your Honor.
I didn't understand this witness's outburst just now. Do you think there is a need to hear more testimony, or is this enough?
Well, we should...
Edgeworth, we can't do this. If we keep this up, Maya, she'll...
The prosecution...
What has come over everyone? Even you are...
The prosecution... rests.
What is going on around here?
The prosecution has no further questions, Your Honor.
What? Well, I never thought I'd see the day. This is a most unusual situation. If the prosecution rests with no further questions, then the prosecution has failed to uphold its stance. If that is the case, then even though I am reluctant, I must believe that Mr. DeKiller's testimony is accurate. That would mean that Shelley DeKiller's client is Adrian Andrews. Mr. Wright?
Yes, Your Honor.
If I end the trial here, right now, then your client, Matt Ungard, would be declared innocent, and in his place, Adrian Andrews would be charged with murder.
Miss Andrews would be charged with murder.
The prosecution has no further questions, so we will now hear the defense's final remarks. Bailiff, please bring the defendant, Matt Ungard, to the stand.
The items from DeKiller's hideout didn't make it in time. We tried as hard as we could, but it looks like our time has run out.
I can't believe it.
The outcome now lies in your hands.
Dude, did the old guy finally decide?
To be honest, I can't think of you as a truly innocent and good person. You have done enough evil to drive a woman to suicide. But at least on the charge of murder, it would appear you are innocent.
So I guess even the old fuddy-duddy figured me out.
Mr. Ungard?
You were atrocious as a lawyer, weren't you? Giving your client away like this, and all that refreshing like a spring breeze crap. It's just as atrocious. Don't you agree? Anyway, get on with it and pronounce me innocent already. Right, Mr. Lawyer?
Should I side with justice or should I save Maya's life?
You'd better get on guard a guilty sentence, okay?
But if I did that, Maya won't die. But if I say he's innocent, then Miss Andrews will be charged as the murderer. Do I say he's guilty or not guilty? Either choice I make, someone's life is going to end. It all hinges on what I choose.
Now then, Mr. Wright, let's hear the defense's final statements on this matter. If the person who hired the assassin was Adrian Andrews, then your client, Mr. Matt Ungard, is innocent.
There's no need to ask, old man. After all, my lawyer is going to say what I want, aren't you?
Right.
I can't do this! But I have to decide something. I can't count on the evidence to help me anymore. I have to listen to my heart. My client, Matt Ungard, is...
We are waiting for your answer, Mr. Wright. Matt Ungard, your client deserves an answer.
Maya, I'm sorry.
Matt Ungard is...
Hold it!
Franziska von Karma!
What are you doing here? Ow!
You see now, don't you? Mr. Phoenix Wright. This is exactly why you should never take your eyes off of that scruffy fool.
Did you bring them? The final pieces, do you have them?
You should know better than to ask that, Mr. Miles Edgeworth. A Von Karma is perfect in every way. The evidence is here in perfect condition. Don't worry about Scruffy. He's fine, and his injuries are minor. All of the items are inside this.
What a filthy old coat this is.
That's Gumshoe's. I can spot his tattered rags anywhere.
I apologize for its ugliness, but there was nothing else to wrap the items in.
I fought long and hard this whole trial. All for what is inside that raggedy coat. I'm sure that inside that coat lies a crucial piece of evidence.
Your Honor, inside that filthy coat are the defense's final pieces of evidence.
Your final evidence? This trial is already over. All that remains is for me to hand down my verdict. I do not believe that any evidence presented now would change the outcome of this trial.
What?
Objection! Your Honor, it is our duty to examine every piece of evidence down to the last. I request that Miss Von Karma be allowed to present these pieces of evidence.
I suppose you are right, Mr. Edgeworth. I grant permission to do so. However, this one obvious rule applies here. If these items do not bring up any new points, then they will not be accepted by this court. Now then, Miss Von Karma, if you'd please.
These pieces of evidence are items left by DeKiller during his escape from the police.
He must have been in quite a rush.
Yes, Your Honor. DeKiller left 3 pieces of evidence.
Somewhere among the evidence we're about to see, there will be something that will turn this whole situation around. Like a miracle. I'm sure of it.
That is all we can hope for.
The first item is a pistol. We have yet to perform a ballistics test, so I can't say anything for certain. However, I believe it has something to do with this case. At least, to me.
That's the pistol that he used to shoot you, isn't it?
That's what I believe, yes. I kept the bullet they removed from my shoulder as a sort of memento. I'm sure it will be an excellent sample for the test.
So that's the pistol that was used to shoot Franziska. It's probably not going to help us very much.
The second piece of evidence is this videotape.
I bet the killer took that from Unguard's mansion. Have you checked the contents of that tape?
Unfortunately, there was no time to.
Oh, yeah.
But I would speculate that this tape is very important.
Why would you say that?
Because he came back to his hideout for it.
Killer went back for it?
That's right. It looks like he was trying to recover it. He injured 3 of the officers at the site. But somehow, it looks like they managed to protect it from DeKiller. Shelley DeKiller is no ordinary man. The last piece of evidence is this bellboy's uniform.
Was that used during the crime?
I am almost certain it was. There's even a pair of black leather gloves in one of the pockets.
There's no doubt about it. DeKiller was wearing this on the night of the murder.
There is one thing I found interesting about this uniform.
And what is that?
There is a button missing on this uniform.
A button?
It's a very unique button. I'm sure if we were to recover it, it would provide us with an interesting clue. That is all I have to present, Your Honor.
It's just as I thought.
And, what is that, Your Honor?
I'm sure were we under normal circumstances, these items from Shelley DeKiller's hideout would be very important clues. However, our question is not who did the killing.
It is, who is the client?
Yes, that is correct. And these 3 items do not tell us anything about that. Thank you for your hard work, Miss Von Karma. You may step down now.
Hold it! Wait, Your Honor! Please allow me to examine this new evidence.
Overruled. This court already has all the evidence it needs to hand down a verdict.
Wonderful. Absolutely splendid. This judge is such a brilliant man, isn't he?
Is this the end?
Phoenix.
I knew it. There's no such thing as a miracle in this world, is there?
I think that you're wrong. They do exist, but you have to make that miracle happen. You've come this far. You can't give up now.
But, no matter how you think about it, it's...
Try. For my sake. Just think about it for a second. There are 2 ways out of this situation for us.
2?
The first, make Unguard wish from the bottom of his soul for a guilty verdict. DeKiller will always place his client's wishes first. If Unguard himself wished to be convicted, then he will let his hostage go.
That may be true, but that's asking me to do the impossible.
The second way, force DeKiller to end his contract with Unguard. If DeKiller were no longer to think of Unguard as his client, then he would let Maya go.
Mia? That's even more impossible. He is a man who values his duty towards his clients above all else.
I know both of these seem like impossible feats at first, but if you could make either one happen, It would truly be a miracle.
The bigger problem is, the judge has already said he doesn't need any more evidence. The pieces he was just shown, he's not accepting them.
Phoenix, think things through from the other side. Isn't that what has always worked for us?
You mean to turn things around?
Phoenix, the judge says he doesn't need the evidence. If that's the case, then who does need it?
The person who needs the evidence.
The defense, prosecution, and the judge. We have all seen the pieces of evidence, and that is how we have come to know the truth. But there are people who have not seen them all, and those people do not know the truth. That truth, it may be what will bring about the miracle in the end.
There are no objections this time, correct? Now then, I will pronounce my verdict.
Why don't we all respectfully sit back and listen in, kids?
Objection!
I have already told you, Mr. Wright. This court does not need any more evidence.
I am not saying it is us that needs the evidence, Your Honor.
Then you want to show the evidence to someone else?
Yes, Your Honor. Please, Your Honor!
Mr. Wright, for you to ask with such passion, I will grant you one chance.
One chance.
Please show your evidence to who you think is the right person.
Objection! That's impossible. To turn this situation around in one try is too much to ask of anyone, Your Honor.
One try. That is all I will permit.
I have to try to remember everything that has happened up to this point. Think, Phoenix, think! There must be a way to save Maya while taking on guard down at the same time!
Now then, Mr. Wright, let's not waste any more time. Who would you like to show the evidence to?
Maybe. Just maybe.
The assassin, Shelley Day Killer.
I see. And now, tell this court what one piece of evidence you would like to show this person.
It's a hell of a risky bluff, but it's the only shot I've got.
The tape recovered from Day Killer's hideout.
Well, what do you think, Mr. Edgeworth?
I think there is some merit in showing this evidence to him.
Bailiff, please bring in the transceiver from earlier.
All right! It looks like they got a hold of him.
Maya! She's okay, right?
Didn't I tell you to concern yourself with bringing about a speedy end to this trial? Now, if I understand correctly, you wish to show me a piece of evidence?
Yes, one is all I need. I have here a videotape. It was found at your hideout. I heard you injured 3 officers in your attempt to get this back.
That was most regrettable. However, it was an order from my client. I was told to protect that videotape.
I thought so.
I'm afraid I seem to have failed in that regard.
Do you know the contents of this tape?
I was sternly told by my client to not watch it, so I have absolutely no idea.
Actually, you are on this tape.
Me?
There was a video camera hidden at the crime scene. Your actions were being recorded.
What?
Is that true, Mr. Wright?
Who was it that planted that camera?
Well, the only person who could have placed a camera at the scene of the crime would be your client, naturally.
That was Adrian Andrews.
Be quiet and listen, Your Honor.
Yes, sir.
Your client specified a place and time for you, isn't that right?
Yes.
That was so they could film you.
I had no idea, Mr. Wright. Why would my client do such a thing? I would like to know why.
Your client once told me something very interesting. We were talking about you, and this is what they said.
But I'm no weakling. I don't believe anyone, least of all assassins. Oh, come now, Mr. Wright. Assassins aren't above blackmail. Yes, that's where the video comes in. With that, I can keep him at bay, and even blackmail him if I want.
Your client didn't trust you at all. They were thinking of using this video to blackmail you. What do you have to say to that, Shelley Day Killer?
It looks like I was being deceived from the very beginning.
Yes, by a natural. That is the kind of person they are. Your client is a person who only thinks and plots of how to use the people around them to protect themselves from any and all danger that may arise. That is the true nature of your client.
I have one question for the witness.
Yes.
You told us one thing numerous times during your testimony. You said that you detest traitors most of all.
Yes, that's right.
But what if that traitor was your own client? What would you do then?
That's obvious. I would break our contract in that case. And then the client would become my next target. For the honor of the killer name. Even if it takes an eternity, I would follow that person to the ends of the earth to exact my punishment.
I see. That's all I wanted to know.
Mr. Wright,
Yes?
my contract with my client is over as of now. I seem to have a new job on my hands. I will now return to you your precious item.
What? I'm not an item!
Maya, I thought I'd never see you again. Oh my goodness.
This trial appears to have come to its conclusion. However, I'm sort of I don't know what quite just happened there with the client and the witness. Actually, I am sort of Miss Von Karma, where did that?
She always has you in her sights. Now, I do believe it's finally time to hand down a verdict.
Mr. On Guard, it looks like somehow you got what you wanted. You will finally receive the acquittal you wanted so badly. You should be happy.
But before that, I would like to make one final statement. Sometime in the near future, one very betrayed assassin may appear before you. Needless to say, that man is very good at what he does. I'm sure you would understand what I mean if you watch this video.
Help me!
Now then, Your Honor, the verdict, if you please.
Is this all right with you, Mr. Wright?
We have finally reached the end of a very long battle. Whether he's convicted or acquitted, there's no escape for him now. Go on, Phoenix. Plead whichever way your heart tells you.
Right, Chief. Matt On Guard! Even though I am a lawyer, I cannot make your crime disappear. I think a guilty verdict is appropriate here.
Me? My wonderful self? Guilty?
Even if you got an acquittal, the instant you set foot outside the detention center, your life would be in danger. No matter which way you look at it, you can't run away from your crime anymore. Take that!
Guilty! 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 Guilty!
As always, it looks like we have uncovered the real truth.
We? I don't remember you helping out much in this.
Mr. Edgeworth, how is Matt On Guard?
I have left Miss Von Karma in charge of his incarceration. I'm sure he's getting a full-course meal of whip leather right about now.
Very good. That was a close one, wasn't it, witness?
Yes. I plan to pay my debt to society for my own crime, Your Honor. This trial was the first time I'd stood on the witness stand. And when I did, I really felt hopeless. But after that, when I was alone at the detention center, that's the first time I really saw myself and who I am. And today, when the two of you used your combined strength to convict Matt, I felt like I had finally been saved.
Wow, this is the first time I've seen her smile.
I'm really happy that you two were in charge of this case. I really don't know how to express how I feel at this moment. This is the first time I've felt comfortable with myself, with who I am. Thank you so much, everyone.
It looks like we have resolved everything at last. As for myself, there are still a few things I'm confused about, but everyone seems to be in good spirits, and that's good enough for me. Anyway, this trial has gone on for far too long already. Regarding the charge of murder, this court finds the defendant, Matt and Guard, guilty! The accused will continue to be held in police custody, pending trial at a higher court within a month from today's date. That is all. This court is adjourned.
You were great out there, Phoenix.
What I did out there was right, wasn't it?
This is the first time you've not gotten your client off the hook. You got them a guilty verdict, but you have to look past all that to what's really important. You now realize that there is something more than just getting a not guilty, right?
Yes, I understand.
Phoenix, think back for a second. Think to the moments before Miss Von Karma arrived with the final pieces of evidence. Think about the incredible decision you had to make. Is he guilty, or is he not guilty? Those were your choices then, and your answer. Your answer spoke to what being a lawyer means to you.
Right! I have good news. Miss Fay is now safe in police custody.
Really?
Burles!
You're telling us the truth, right, Mr. Edgeworth?
Yes, she's quite safe. She's on her way here as we speak in a patrol car.
Ah! Mystic Maya! Mystic Maya's safe! You did it! You really did it, Mr. Nick!
Ow! She punches deceptively hard for a kid.
I believed in you. I kept saying to myself, Mr. Nick will save her. Mr. Nick will save her.
Thanks.
Oh!
What's wrong?
Miss Von Karma.
About earlier. Thanks.
Ow! Why are you still smiling, Mr. Phoenix Wright? You lost! Your perfect win record has now been crushed, and yet you are still happy?
I don't think you'll ever understand, Miss Von Karma.
How dare you!
Don't worry. She may in time. After all, I was like that myself until a year ago. For my own personal victories and for guilty verdicts, I used every dirty trick in the book. And so my win record remained spotless. But a man appeared and stood fast against that selfish me. I fought him in my usual manner and tasted my first defeat. I felt like I had lost everything because of that. And then it was my turn to sit in the defendant's chair. And I was saved by that person I called my enemy. I couldn't forgive myself for all that had happened. So I left the prosecutor's office. And I left that note. Prosecutor Miles Edgeworth chooses death.
As well you should have. A prosecutor who has shamed himself with defeat should crawl into a hole and die.
But that was not what happened. After I left the prosecutor's office, I finally came to realize something. And it was in that moment of clarity that everything began to change.
What foolish nonsense!
We prosecutors use anything we can to attack the defendant. But every time we did so...
Objection!
No matter how desperate the situation, instead of giving up like most people, that man would hold strong with his undying faith. And then, before I knew it, I began to trust in that man as well.
What? You trusted your enemy?
It doesn't matter how many underhanded tricks a person uses. The truth will always find a way to make itself known. The only thing we can do is fight with the knowledge we hold, and everything we have. Erasing the paradoxes one by one. It's never easy. We claw and scratch for every inch. But we will always eventually reach that one single truth. This, I promise you.
The truth.
Yes, that's the reason why prosecutors and defense lawyers exist. But I'm sure you knew that already, didn't you, Wright? That's why you couldn't forgive me. This man who went into hiding, isn't that right? This man who only had his sights set on victory, who ran away into the night.
Is Mr. Edgeworth right, Mr. Nick?
You really let me down.
When you disappeared, I felt betrayed. The reason I decided to become a lawyer to begin with was because I believed in the things you said to me all those years ago. And you betrayed your own words. That's why 1 year ago I made up my mind. I decided that the Miles Edgeworth I knew had died. At least, that's what I told myself.
You pathetic fool! I don't want to hear the wretched whimpering of a disgraced loser! A Von Karma is someone who is destined to be perfect! Miles Edgeworth, you are no longer worthy! You are no longer worthy of being a Von Karma! And neither am I! It's over! It's all over!
Franziska threw something on the ground.
This is an electromagnetic receiver.
Isn't that the thing she used to track Detective Gumshoe?
I'll return this to the precinct later. There's something else.
Huh? Isn't that Miss Von Karma's whip?
I'll never set foot in another courtroom again. I'm sure that's what she's saying by this action. You should keep this, right?
Okay.
Nick!
Maya!
Mystic Maya! Mystic Maya! Oh, Nick! I knew you would come through! You got on guard convicted like I knew you would! And on top of that, you even rescued me!
Well, of course I did. You know I would never desert you. But we sure pressed our luck this trial. You're really lucky to be standing here.
Whatever. Look, it's over, okay? Besides, if I did croak, I would just come back and haunt you like a bad ghost through Pearly.
Is it really that easy to do something like that?
Thanks a lot, Nick.
Don't mention it.
Miss Fay?
Oh, Mr. Edgeworth.
I'm relieved you're all right.
Hey, it looks like you made some real progress, Mr. Edgeworth.
Well, I suppose I'm a little different from who I was a year ago.
All right. I think it's time we got out of this depressing place.
Huh? Where are we going?
Food, Nick!
Food! Grub! Chow! Oh, I'm starved. I'm so hungry, even you look like a nice, juicy burger on a bun to me, Nick.
You think I look like a burger? I'm a prime rib at least.
Come with us, Mr. Edgeworth! Please!
If you insist.
Alright. So, how about we hit up our usual burger joint?
Don't be silly, Nick.
Huh?
This case messed up that awesome evening and got in the way of my gourmet food. So I've decided we have to make it up by having another awesome feast.
Another feast?
Come on, Nick! Food!
Hey, pal! Sorry to keep you guys waiting.
Gumshoe! Are you alright?
Yeah, but I'm really embarrassed. I didn't think I would hit a telephone pole of all things.
Then it wasn't a red light that got him?
You did it again, city boy. I felt like my dear old heart was gonna give out on me. And I ain't joking.
Yeah, it was more exciting than the very last episode of The Steel Samurai.
Thanks.
Now, looky here, Mr. Snooty Prosecutor. Don't you reckon you bullied Mr. Wright too hard? If you don't start being a lot nicer to him, he might just kick it. Tonight, even.
I'll keep that in mind.
Well, come on now. Everyone gather round. Y'all are gonna get your picture taken by a genuine professional photographer.
Looks like Lotta bought herself a new camera.
Well, pal, at least we can put this messy case behind us now. Come on! Tonight's all about eating, so let's go chow down, pal!
Amen to that, pal. Amen.
You know, when you think about it, you're the one who saved the day, Detective.
Huh? Me? You really think so?
He's right. If it wasn't for the 3 items you took, I think this trial would have had a very different ending.
Ah, well, you know, it's... Wait, that's odd. When I ran off with the things from the killer's hideout, I was sure I took 4 things total, sir.
What? 4?
Yeah, I'm sure I put one of the items in my coat pocket.
There was a 4th item?
Oh, come on, y'all. It's over. But woo boy, I tell you, you really are something else. Between getting accused of murder and getting kidnapped, never a dull moment with you, huh?
Oh, you think?
Why does she look so happy about that?
But being shut away for 2 whole days. Weren't you scared? Yeah, it was really scary. I felt so hopeless. So, to keep my mind off of things, I drew a picture.
Oh, sounds like you had it rough, gal. So where's this picture of yours?
Yeah! I want to see it! I want to see Mystic Maya's picture! You know, I don't know where it went. Aw, that's too bad. Well, it's alright. It wasn't anything important anyway.
It sure is nice to finally see them both smiling again.
What is it, Edgeworth?
This thing is picking something up.
Ah, that's Ms. Von Karma's receiver. Thanks to her, I had the most awful experience of my life, sir. I can't believe she stuck a tracking device on me.
That's odd. Even though you're standing right here, the tracking device seems to be in a different location.
Oh, it's, probably busted or something, sir.
Well, it doesn't matter. I'm afraid it's about time for me to excuse myself. I still have some work to do.
Huh? But Mr. Edgeworth, you haven't even eaten anything yet.
And you've eaten way too much, you glutton!
I had fun tonight. Now, if you'll excuse me.
Wait.
What?
I just want to say... thanks, Edgeworth. You really saved me out there.
If anyone should be saying thanks, it should be me, right?
I feel like words alone aren't enough here.
What's this?
Thank you. It's all thanks to you two. You and her.
You don't need to thank me. I was only doing my job.
It looks like Mr. Edgeworth has left, Mr. Nick. Hey, Mystic Maya? Yes, Pearly? I guess you two can go back to being lovey-dovey, right? You and Mr. Nick, I mean. Pearly! Would you cut it out already? You're embarrassing me.
Anyway, so who's paying for this lovely dinner party?
As if you need to ask. Everyone say thank you to Nick.
Huh?
Ah, yeah. I'm kinda at the point where I can't even buy instant noodles, pal, so I kinda already put your name on the bill.
Huh? Huh?
Yeah, I got me a situation just like that myself. There's this camera shop in this hotel, see? And I just bought myself this good old beauty here. It better be anyhow for $3,000.
Huh? Huh? Huh?
Actually, I reckon you bought it for me since it's on your tab and all.
Isn't this great, Mr. Nick? Yeah, Nick!
Why do I suddenly feel like screaming?
Oh, you don't need to hold back now. You hear?
Yeah, pal. Time to let it all out.
This is going to be the first time I hear the real you.
Go on! It's been a while since I heard you say it. I've been busy being a hostage and all.
All right then, if you say so. Objection!
You really came through for me, Nick. I had to hide that letter, but I knew you'd find it. I really feel like I've been living on the edge lately. I mean, I've escaped death 3 times now. Pretty cool, huh? I feel like a pro.
I'm so happy that you could save Mystic Maya, Mr. Nick. And I'm so happy for the 2 of you. Speaking of, I think this hotel is a popular place for honeymooners. So I sort of made reservations for the 2 of you. Just in case.
Well, pal, it looks like I'm back on the force again. Mr. Edgeworth had a long talk with the chief, and he got me reinstated for my sake. I heard he said things like, letting that one go is bad for all of society. I knew it. Crashing headlong into everything is the only way to live, pal.
I'm retiring this uniform as of today, sir. I'm going to be a waitress from now on and bring smiles and joy to the people that stop by the restaurant, sir. I hope you'll stop by sometime, Mr. Wright.
Yes? Are you here to visit a patient? I'm Director Hottie. Oh! Recently? Yes. That girl, you know. I haven't seen her around. Yes. But I remember, if I even laid so much as an eye on her, it would go crack. It didn't matter much if I got whipped, though. Yes. Oh.
It's time to begin our quest of world circus domination, sweetie! And to let the world know we are serious, I plan to make a fabulous flight to Zimbabwe!
Hey, Max, what do you think Zimbabwe is like? Do you think there are castles made of cake and bunnies who can talk?
I think if there are any talking bunnies, even they won't laugh at Moe's jokes.
I'm ready! There's no way these jokes are gonna fall on deaf ears! I'm going to be more contemporary with my humor. Mo Curls represent!
And we've got our new act all worked out! Prepare for the Hallelujah Chorus! Say something, will ya? You're supposed to start this off! Get on with it!
It's just an ordinary electric razor recharging on its stand. I can't believe this. Really, how long do they plan on making me do this? But it's Edgy Poo's idea, so that means it must have a deep hidden meaning. But why do I get the feeling they wouldn't forget about me, would they? Oh, it was never like this in my old days. Everyone thought the world of me. They used to call me Queen Wendy and treat me like...
I appreciate everything you and Mr. Edgeworth did for me, from the bottom of my heart. Oh, that's right. I received a letter from Miss Von Karma. She said that after I get out, I should feel free to consult her about anything at all. I'm really thankful to have met everyone.
It has become difficult for me in this country as of late. As such, I will take a short leave of absence. If you would like to request my services, please be sure to visit my homepage. May we both be blessed with longevity.
Where are you going, Franziska?
How did you know I was here?
With this?
That's...
I heard you were planting things on a certain person. Things like tracking devices in his coat, for example?
That's just like you. I only planted it there because he was always wearing it. This filthy, drab coat of his. I don't know how it ended up in my luggage. But it's going in the trash, I promise you that.
Speaking of that man, he told me something very interesting.
Huh? Wait, that's odd. When I ran off with the things for Tequila's hideout, I was sure I took 4 things total, sir.
4 items?
It seems he put the last one in his coat pocket.
He put it in here? It doesn't matter anymore. The case is already over.
What are you going to do now?
That's none of your business.
Are you running away?
Shut up! You don't understand a thing. You can't possibly understand what it means to be Manfred von Karma's daughter.
Franziska.
So many expectations from everyone around me. Expectations I must fulfill. I'm expected to win no matter what. And failure? Such a thing is not an option for me. My father was a genius. There's no doubt about that. But me, I'm no genius. I've always known that. But I had to be one. I had to.
You may not be a genius like your father, but you are a prosecutor. You have been and always will be.
No, I'm not. Not anymore. I've even thrown my whip away.
Speaking of that, Wright gave me this to hold on to. Right. You knew something like this would happen, didn't you? I'm going to say this again. We prosecutors do not fight for personal honor or pride. I hope you will think deeply about what you should be striking down with that whip.
You haven't changed a bit. You've always left me alone and walked on ahead without me. Miles Edgeworth, I've always hated you. And then, finally, my chance to take my revenge on you arrived. If I could win against that man, if I could make Phoenix Wright bow down in defeat, then this girl you left behind would have risen higher than you. That was supposed to be my revenge.
I see.
You know, I can't do it. I can't change who I am. I can't throw away everything I've been until today.
I believe you can. Just like how Adrian Andrews did.
Adrian Andrews?
You were going to use her during the trial, right? But you were dependent on your father by using his tactics. Isn't that right? Today you chased after me, after I'd left you behind all these years. And that's why we're standing here now, side by side. But I have no intention of stopping. If you say you're going to quit your walk down the prosecutor's path, then this is where we part ways, Franziska von Karma.
I am Franziska von Karma! Don't think I'm going to walk in your shadow forever. Our battle begins now, so you'd better prepare yourself, Miles Edgeworth. Phoenix Wright. One day, someday, I'm sure we'll meet again in battle. Until then, this last piece of evidence that never made it to you, I'll take good care of this fourth piece, so I can give it to you when at last we meet again.
Objection!